Yeah. Yeah. Coming to you every week from Sydney and Melbourne. It's Full Disclosure. The Jono and Dorje podcast. Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure in the raw. Raw. Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred.
Okay, well, here we are at the Academy Award edition of...
Oh, yeah, we're just going to get into it. Yeah.
Full Disclosure, the Jono and Dorje show. Now, I think we should just get straight into it, really. Did you get to catch a bit of it?
Mate, I don't have a TV.
So no.
I've got a...
Answer is no.
No, I tried very hard. You know, I'm not the best with technology.
Right.
So I thought I'd watch it on my phone. You can watch your phone and the YouTube it onto your TV.
Right.
But very hard to get a stream. Lots of bullshit kind of, they want you to buy other stuff. So then finally bit the bullet and signed into Channel 9 now.
Right.
Watch it on Channel 9, except had some buffering issues. But pretty much, yeah, watched a lot of it.
Well, you weren't the only one, because it was the lowest rating Academy Awards in history. By the over audience fell below 30 million viewers for the first time ever, substantially below 2008's record low of 32 million. So the year-to decline this year is about 15 to 20%, and that's on top of the Super Bowl, which also was a ratings disaster. Basically, the upshot is people aren't watching TV anymore. They generally watch streaming stuff, and they're not wanting to watch stuff.
There you go. Yeah. People don't have TV, so I'm onto it, really.
In a lot of ways, the Olympics rated badly. Everything that used to rate fantastically is gradually going down the gurgler, and there has been a narrative by some that perhaps the Academy Awards. Some of the right-wing party would be like, the liberal Hollywood's out of touch with real America, etc. But the fact of the matter is everything on television is just going by the wayside because people are sick of networks choosing what they watch. They want to be able to just pick and choose.
They want choice, Dorje.
That's right. So you weren't alone, but there was some big results, and the most controversial one really now is the winner of Best Film,
yes.
Shape of Water.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. Yeah. What was your verdict? Have you seen that? Okay.
People are calling it the fish fucking movie.
Yes, that's
the fucking fish movie.
Well, there's a great little video going around online which has side-by-side shots of it comparing it to Splash with Daryl Hannah. And there's
another fish fucking movie.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty much the same film. I mean, at the end, spoiler alert, Tom Hanks... Full disclosure. Tom Hanks jumps into the ocean with Daryl Hannah, just in the same way as The Shape of Water. They even have a scene where she's putting salt in the bath, where she's in order to survive. Hope you haven't seen Shape of Water. But anyway, the point of the matter is, it's not exactly an original concept. But then again, I suppose, when has the Academy Awards ever been loaded with original concept films? You could argue probably not much.
So it was almost a mix between Call Me By Your Name and The Shape of Water Splash, because it was a gay mermaid movie.
It wasn't.
Kind of combination.
It wasn't gay.
With Tom and Daryl.
Oh, no, Daryl Hannah, yes. Actually, for the record, I was watching
Daryl Hannah's a woman.
Correct. Daryl Hannah was... I just saw the image of it. So Daryl Hannah was stunning back then. Not that it's always just about aesthetics, of course. And then I was watching her in recently in
I disagree. You
don't think Daryl Hannah's stunning?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. She was in... I don't think she was stunning in Blade Runner either. I think she's got a great body.
Great what?
Body of work.
Right. She's very tall. That could explain one of the problems you have with her. She'd tower over you. I mean, she'd be a good head and a half taller than you.
No one knows my height. But yeah, I could be the big man.
No, she's statuesque, and I can see that being problematic. But she was great in...
Good segue with the Oscars.
Well, great. Yes, and moving right along...
That was a good joke, wasn't it? Statue of Limitations.
Statue of Limitations, yeah.
That was one of his better jokes, where he said that Oscar doesn't have a dick.
Yeah, so did you... Yeah, Kimmel. I mean that's the can't look great in his resume, hosting the lowest rating Academy Awards of all time, regardless of the reasonings behind it. It's not a great look. Did you realise...
I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, he's always solid, I think. He's never really blown me away. I mean, are you a full-on Kimmel fan?
I like Kimmel. He's definitely my top top couple of late night guys, and he's getting a lot of kudos now because he's woke. I don't really actually know what that means when someone's woke, but apparently he's woke.
It just means whether they're on top of things and they've awoken to the way things are. They've deconstructed the way things really are. They can see what's going on. They're critical thinkers, if you will, and can see the power mechanizations that other people are unaware of.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's kind of that's the vibe.
I might have to go to Google there. You sure?
Look it up. Yeah, look it up. Yeah, that's totally what it is.
Oh, you're the guy. Who do you reckon's more woke, you or me?
I'm very straight.
But street isn't woke. Like
No,
really street.
no,
but he's woke. You're saying he's woke.
Yeah, they are saying he's woke. Who's they, by the way? Just the majority.
The internet. The internet.
So let's go through. I'll just go through some of the winners, and you can give me a few words on it. Let's start with supporting actor. Rockwell brought home the bacon with 3 billboards. Did you see that coming?
Well, Dorje, it's in hindsight now. Like, so you might not believe me, but I picked it all.
Well, it's easy to say now.
I know, and you don't believe me, but I should have told you beforehand. I knew he was going to win. I knew Shape of Water was going to win. Yeah, I got it all. I knew that everything Mexican was going to win. It's very reactive. I didn't know Kobe was going to win.
Yeah, no, that was a big story.
But so we'll go. Yeah, I don't want to jump ahead. Yeah, no, Rockwell.
You kind of ruined the next 4 or 5 I was going to read out. But did you think Defoe was robbed with Florida Project, or were you happy with?
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen the Florida Project.
I thought it was an outstanding film. But I can see what I thought. Rockwell. I picked Rockwell as soon as I saw the film. I thought he was gonna get the chocolate.
Good speech, was it? Because I missed that speech.
Oh, for Rockwell.
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't see the Academy Awards. No one did. No,
I thought you said you were watching. So you're giving me shit for having buffering issues. Oh, okay. So I'll have to explain that. Okay, I'll explain. So did you see Jimmy Kimmel's opening?
Yes, I saw a bit of that. Yeah.
A bit of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I was
that was a good joke. You know what I liked? He made a Seabiscuit joke.
Yep. That's the famous horse Seabiscuit, of course.
Yeah.
Winner of the Kentucky Derby, I believe, was the one that.
Yeah, but he said that the guy. That Harvey Weinstein's the first person since this one other guy. There's only 2 people that have ever been asked to leave the Academy. And he said, so that's great. A guy that got done for sharing screeners, for giving a VHS of Seabiscuit to someone, got the same punishment as Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. That was one of his jokes. And then he also said, showing how out of touch the Academy is, they made a movie called What Women Want, starring Mel Gibson.
Yeah, and he also, the famous one that's getting a lot of press is when he made the gag about the Academy asking him if they wanted to include the accountants last year in the gags, and he said no, and then of course they included themselves in the jokes anyway. But the big stuff up from last year, of course, which I watched. What I did watch with interest was the redemption for Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, the Warren Beatty, when they came out to present Best Picture at the end, and this is his chance to make amends for what was a shocking performance last year. One of the great mess-ups of all time in Academy history.
It wasn't his fault, though. It wasn't. That was the problem. He always got blamed. It had nothing to do with him. It said, what's it called? La La Land.
Yeah, but I mean, he I think he was culpable in some ways. You're not putting any blame.
He wasn't culpable at all.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
It was switched, but he knew that it wasn't the right film. He said he was reading it out, knowing it was the wrong film.
What do you do?
Well, that's what he was trying to figure out. And he looked like a real idiot. He was like sort of wildly looking around. Anyway, the point being, he had a lot of trouble opening the envelope again. Did you see him just fumbling around there? And Faye Dunaway just looking at him, he's going to get it open, and it was tenterhooks. It was like
he's pretty old.
It's like a game-winning shot.
Faye Dunaway looks differently than she looked last year. She looks like she's had a lot of work done.
Definitely had the face pulled back. It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad because, it's just, anyway, you know how I feel about that sort of stuff.
Don't keep the energy up, mate.
Yes, indeed. So, moving along, now, I had a friend, a horse in the race, if you were. You might not know that Josh Lawson.
Got really depressed there, Dorje.
Yeah. Well, wait till you hear my segment later on. We got... my friend,
Josh Lawson, yeah. Well, I was looking forward to asking you how you felt about that.
Yeah,
kind of happy he didn't win?
I'm not happy he didn't win. He had a short film which was nominated for an Academy Award. Josh was a friend of his. Ben was in my year at spoiler alert / full exposure.
Full disclosure. Dorje went to NIDA.
Full exposure. I went to NIDA, and Ben Lawson, who was in my year, who's now got an article on him as being one of the most in work Australian actors in Hollywood, and his younger brother, Josh, was a few years above him at NIDA, and hence I've crossed paths with Josh numerous times, and Josh is a lovely, lovely guy, and very dedicated. He was famously in House of
Lies. With Don Cheadle.
Almost messed it up. He was in House of Lies with Don Cheadle, and he's not doing that anymore. So
I mean, Anchorman too. That was a big
Anchorman. I think you mean Anchorman 2 too. Is that what you mean? He was in Anchorman 2 too. Yeah.
It's on a beer ad.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. That wasn't a beer ad. It was a mineral water ad, wasn't it?
Oh, mineral water. Yeah.
Well, I mean, most famously, he did Paul Hogan recently as well. But anyway, the live action short film it didn't win, so
didn't get the chocolates. It had Damien Herriman in it as well.
Damien Herriman, who I share the same voiceover agent with, funnily enough. So just
full disclosure. The reason Dorje sounds so good on the mic. There is a bit of a peaking thing though, with I'm hearing with you occasionally. It goes.
Really? Oh, it's not on my end. It's just on your end, I think. Yeah. So, and your end isn't important because we're not recording any of it from your end because let's face it, the risks are plenty involved in that.
Nothing would happen. No, it's true.
I shouldn't slag you off like that. So call me by your name.
That's fine.
Call me by your name. One best adapted screenplay. You must be happy about that.
You haven't seen it, have you?
You said there was no discernible storyline, so
you'd like it.
I guess the Academy didn't agree.
No, it's very slow, very slow. It had to win something. It was a good film, so glad that it got a little piece of the pie.
Yes. The other one.
I didn't watch that speech either, though. I didn't watch that speech. I'm about to have seen everything else, but yeah, I have seen the film. Very good film, great performances. Yeah, I don't. What did it beat? What are the other adapted screenplays?
Oh, just
the original ones were good this year.
They were, yeah. Oh, it beat Molly's Game by Aaron Sorkin. So that was Logan.
What else?
It beat Logan.
A comic book. They adapted it from a comic book. Did it beat The Phantom Thread? Was that from a book?
No, it wasn't nominated. It beat
The original ones were better this year.
Yeah, they were. And Get Out won that, of course. And that was a worthy winner. I thought
Let's not jump ahead.
What, you still want to do adapted screenplay? Who cares about adapted screenplays? Does anyone care?
No, that was one of the big... That was their only win for the night, and it was Jordan Peele. It was from Comedy Central to the Academy. So
that's right. Yeah.
That's pretty much the internet's favourite win.
Yeah. I thought... it was just so original, the screenplay. It was so different to anything else, you know? And that was what was so fantastic about it.
And I didn't know before last night that he's dating or married to one of the cast members of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Which one? Who's he married to?
Probably the funniest.
Okay.
The Minnelli or whatever.
Liza Minnelli. Yeah,
not Liza Minnelli. She's not in that.
No.
She's in Arrested Development. No, she's the tall one that does a lot of sarcastic kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, vaguely. Let's move right on to Best Actor because that's what we care about most.
Full disclosure, George. Yes. I'm sorry about this.
What?
Both my giant Maine Coon cats have come into the podcast studio and they're idiots and they're going to definitely make noise. Can you hear them?
Yeah, I can hear them. I'll just delete it. I did a fair bit of editing on the first podcast already. I'll have you know.
Excellent.
And I also put a beep in when I mentioned the notable ex-partner who trained me out of cunnilingus.
When you mentioned cunnilingus. Gotcha. Good.
Okay.
Good that you didn't keep in.
Stop it. I will just have to take this whole section out. So it's a lot of beeps I'm going to have to put in.
Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred.
See, but I was just happy that he mentioned Seabiscuit and What Women Want because they're both two films that I reference a lot.
What Women Want is a very funny film. It's very funny.
I've never seen it. I just. Is it actually very funny?
It's very funny.
Is it?
He can hear what they're thinking. That's the premise. He can hear everything the female's thinking.
But should I get it on DVD? Is it worth having in my collection?
I think so. I think it's Mel really just firing on all cylinders, you know. But anyway, moving right along. Gary Oldman brought home the chocolates. I don't know why I'm using chocolates on him. For Best Actor for Darkest Hour. I thought we all saw that coming a mile off.
We did, but it should have. I haven't seen it, but it should have gone to Daniel Day-Lewis.
What do you mean? You haven't seen Darkest Hour?
I haven't seen it, but I just can't imagine it could be better than what Daniel Day-Lewis did. But good stuff. Yeah, good on him.
It's good to make educated decisions on things, though, isn't it? So it's a bit tricky for you to say anything because you're saying I haven't seen what the other guy did, but I see what your point is. You thought that he was simply amazing, but I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis.
On that rationale, Martin Lawrence should have got one for Big Mama's House. Like he's just in a fat suit. It's lazy transformation if you're in a fat suit. It's like, of course you've transformed. Optimus Prime should get one.
Off mic, we were talking once before about how we think Hollywood says if you make yourself ugly, you get an award. And I guess Oldman that certainly fits into that area,
Yes.
following in Kidman's footsteps from The Hours and famously
Monster.
That's right. What's the name again?
It didn't work for Margot, for Australia's own Margot Robbie. That would have been big.
But she didn't ugly herself up. She didn't ugly herself up.
She's much better looking on the red carpet than she was as Tonya.
Right. And so did you see... I did see Frances McDormand's speech. Did you see her speech?
Yep. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, she definitely... Was she pulled up short again? Or was she in the midst and they brought the music up and yanked her off? I thought she had some more to say.
I don't think so. I think she said enough, mate. She said more than enough. So there was thought that a lot of people weren't standing up. That it wasn't kind of most of the women in the crowd standing up.
Okay.
There was a bit of but I thought it was a great speech, and it was cool how Meryl Streep's become the kind of Jack Nicholson of the Oscars. How everyone kind of like just talks directly to her.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't watch it, mate? They were bagging her out all the time. It was really funny. It's because Casey Affleck's not allowed to give out an award this year because he's too tarnished with the
too much of a jerk
Me Too thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was it? Sleaze. So they had Jodie Foster
Great.
and who was it? Jodie Foster and Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
Yeah, and they came out, and Jodie Foster's on crutches, and she said, Meryl Streep tripped me, and then Lawrence said, she's shocking. She pushed me over once. And they did that. And then also the host Kimmel said that it's the longest time that she's never been nominated was 3 years between 2001 and 2004. That's when she was in prison, stuff like that. And she's laughing at all them like Jack Nicholson. But what was funny is her husband or whoever the dude is next to her, just absolute, like staunch, not a smile every time they made jokes about her.
I wasn't a fan.
I don't think he appreciated it. That made it better.
Yeah, gotcha.
I wish you'd see more of this because also I've got questions about McDormand. Oh, you saw her speech.
Yeah.
Who's their son? Who's that little guy?
Yeah, that she was pointing to him as like wasn't she saying he's an exhibit of all the great work that I've done in my life kind of thing? That was the point of that story, wasn't it?
He doesn't look like he came from them. He looks adopted.
Okay, well, you know.
Full disclosure, he looked like a Mexican gangbanger, and he's got McDormand as a mum and a Jewish guy, Cohen.
Okay, well, let me do some quick research. Francis, I'm pretty sure he's not adopted, mate. I just think he might have had a different McDormand son.
Like, stand up! Can't you hear my mom's talking loco?
Pedro McDormand Cohen.
Yeah, they've adopted him. They're not going to call their son Pedro if he's not.
Who is everything we know about Frances McDormand? Joel Collins. Oh, she's married to Joel Cohen. No wonder she keeps getting work from the Cohen brothers.
Yeah, she was in Blood Simple. She's started with it.
Talk about marrying your way in. Bloody hell. Pedro is the adopted son of McDormand and Cohen. There you go. When he was just 6 months old, McDormand, who also came from an adoptive family. Oh, McDormand's adopted as well. And Cohen adopted Pedro in 1995 from Paraguay. In fact, adopting him had her considering penning a book on adoption.
Okay, you can edit all this out, I suppose.
What's wrong with... You just wanted to know why I didn't look like them. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and he's just like a fully... Like, it was cute. It was, like, nice that they like her support group.
She also said that he was her inspiration for 3 Billboards as a mother. So that the anger she had resonated with her because as a parent, you also come to see how the worry and the anxiety that goes along with protecting someone who you give yourself to in that way, that you surrender to, can become degenerative. So she said that,
don't have kids.
It was a massive source for her. In that. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm looking at it now, and he's a very different looking dude. Yeah,
cool looking dude. Yeah.
Strong jawline. I think Gangbanger was probably a little bit racial profiling, but yeah, he's definitely.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, he's definitely.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, just definitely looks Latin American. Okay, so moving right along, I thought we'd go into our first section, which were weekly.
So we're done with the Oscars?
Well, is there anything else you wanted to say about the Oscars?
Well, since you didn't see it, I may as well just help you out here. Janny had quite a funny speech because she just got up there and she said, "I did it all myself." That was all she said, and everyone massive laugh. And then she said, "That, of course, is the couldn't be further from the truth." But that was a funny line. That was a genuinely funny line.
Who said that?
She just got up. Alison Janney.
Oh, of course, I Tonya. Yeah, that's right.
I did it all myself. Oscar Isaacs gave away the Oscar for best short film. They tanked, they bombed. It was him, Mark Hamill, and another woman from Star Wars, and they had CP3O, or the new one, CGI'd on the stage, and they fucking tanked. They bombed so bad. And you get the feeling that Hamill actually likes bombing.
Right.
Hamill just doesn't give a fuck. He just couldn't give two fucks. But then Oscar Isaacs was like fully fanboying out that the Mexican film won. He was like, he's like, ah! like jumping up. And the guy from, he was on one of the police procedurals, really good looking guy, Benjamin Bratt or whatever.
Right.
Do you remember him?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Julia Roberts' ex, yeah.
Yeah, he must have produced the film, so he was up on stage when they won that.
Right. He was in LA Law, famously, Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah. And then there's was it LA Law? I thought it was another one. Sure, you're thinking of Jimmy Smits.
Sorry, Law and Order. Law and Order.
Law and Order, yeah. Bang, 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 bang. And there was a transsexual woman introduced Sufjan Stevens, but she said his name wrong.
Okay.
Can't really make a joke about that. She goes, here's Sufjan Stevens. She goes, open your heart to love. And then she goes, can you feel it? And it was just a little bit aggressive. But you didn't see it, so yep. Kobe winning was pretty huge.
Uh-huh.
The big LA victory.
Yep.
Gabriel Garcel Bernal can't sing. He sang one of the Oscar songs. You know that.
Why was he
singing? Can you pronounce his name? Because he's in the movie. And I just thought it would be a good idea.
Gabriel Garcia Bernal.
Gabriel Garcia Bernal. Yeah, it was a Fergie moment.
Right.
And there was a really interesting bit where the people that won the song for Frozen.
Yes.
They won again, and they're a husband and wife team.
Yeah.
And they said, it's great working with all these different people. And we've got these lovely daughters. And then they go, yeah, our lovely daughters. And then the husband cut her off, and he goes, but this is not for our daughters. This is for my dead mum.
Whoa.
Whoa. And then as they're walking off, she pointed to her two daughters, it's for you guys as well. It's still for you guys. But that was pretty big. I saw it in real time. I thought that's intense. And then the internet backed me up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And McConaughey has just become an absolute weirdo. He's
always been he's been a weirdo for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said something like, what is it was for editing. He goes, of course, without editing. He did just this weird thing about giving out an editing.
It was an Australian that won that.
Yes.
Australian editor. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Dunkirk.
For Dunkirk, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, luckily, the director could have done it all himself, but he didn't. And he said Matthew McConaughey's here. That was quite funny. He referenced Matthew McConaughey in his speech.
You know what was strange about Dear Basketball? Something I read was they said Kobe was fantastic that he won.
Go ahead.
He's a great speaker, and then at the bottom of the article, I think it was the New York Times. I was reading it. Just said, but he could not escape his prior sexual conviction.
Ooh.
And the history that brings in regards to the Me Too movement. But if you're cleared, and they said that she refused to testify was the major issue, but he was cleared and he always argued it was consensual. I don't think, if it goes to trial and you're cleared, I guess,
If you're cleared and you did it though.
Sorry?
Doesn't mean you didn't do it just because you're cleared.
No, true, but his argument was that it was consensual. I mean, sure, he had consensual sex with someone, but it was a woman from memory at the hotel. She was working at the hotel that he was in. I just think it's a bit problematic saying that, because there was this indiscretion that that in the end you were found not guilty of, that you cannot run away from that in light of the Me Too movement. I mean, if you've had mud sling at you and it doesn't stick, surely does that mean that you're tarnished by that for the rest of your life?
Jeez, man, I don't know. It's a very... I actually don't. A lot of people hate Kobe Bryant, and a lot of people kind of maintain that he did do it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, he did say, I should have done what Shaq does, which is pay girls afterwards, and then I wouldn't have this problem.
And I think he actually did apologise later on.
No, but he apologised. He said that he had consensual sex with her.
Yes.
He said that, and he had a wife at the time, right? He was married, I think.
Same wife.
Yeah.
Still with her, thank you.
Yeah, so
So he couldn't have done it. He's got the same wife.
Anyway, I just thought it was
stuck with him, mate. He stuck by it. How can that be wrong? I don't like the word problematic.
Well,
sounds like Tinamatic, that the singer.
It's
you can hear by your that it does make you uncomfortable.
Well,
it is uncomfortable times. Ryan Seacrest couldn't get an interview
with,
and he's with anyone. They all boycotted him.
Why?
Because he's got a tiny. Mate, have you done any research on the Oscars? So you just wanted me. Why didn't you watch it?
Well, I did watch a fair bit of it. I watched it.
I
did watch it. It was on a tricky time. I was actually at the dentist again.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But
I was in a dental chair watching it.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is cool. Yeah, that's when I saw Francis win. Yeah.
That's fucking so cool.
Yeah, there was on the dentist chair. I look up, there's a monitor there, and I could watch it, and I had the teletext on, so I could read it all. And I watched like 3 or 4 awards get given out. It's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
that's an amazing way to do it.
Yeah, and you know what's surprising is this particular dentist I went to was all the way out in like Blacktown or something. So it's like dry. I'm not being too disrespectful towards the West, but it was. Well, yeah, it's like going to Shitsville. Like, it was a real... it's just like a slum.
Jono and Dorje, full disclosure in the raw.
Good that we found out that stuff. That's good. We also found out about the inclusion rider. That was another big thing in Francis McDormand's speech.
Yes.
That you can actually write in your contract to have... And this is what you've been banging on about since I've known you about having a more diverse, obviously Australia's so racist, having a more diverse set.
Right.
So you can actually, Hollywood superstars can actually have that in their contract.
Oh, they can make it so I'm not doing this project unless it has, a quota of diversity?
An inclusion rider, yeah.
Interesting.
Sent people Googling inclusion rider. And also Jimmy Kimmel, the jet ski thing was good. The costume guy won the jet ski.
Yeah, I saw that was funny at the end. How many Australian actors do you think are going to insist on an inclusion rider? I'll give you the hot tip. I'm going to say a grand total of 0. I mean, have a look at, say, the new Chopper show, which is on TV shortly, and you look at any TV soap on Australian TV. It's a whitewash. It's a complete whitewash. They're not going to. I mean, come on.
Well, don't they? Australia's definitely well behind.
Oh, well behind. Yeah. Well behind. It's the 19th century. Yeah. Shocking, absolutely shocking. Anyway, speaking of rants, I thought we'd move on to my new favourite section each week, which is Jono Burns' It's an Outrage. Belligerent Burns kind of sets up the mark and unleashes about what he's finding problematic in in society at this particular point in time. Take it away, Jono Burns, Belligerent Burns, with It's an Outrage.
Okay, well, I'm just going to work on a bunch of words that people are using at the moment. 100% has been killing me for a long time. People saying 100%, which I just find is a bit of a know-it-all thing. It's also stupid. I don't like anyone that feels 100% about anything. Now people are saying 125%.
125%. 125%.
Yeah, they're just showing total idiocy.
Are they really saying that? Are they really saying 125? Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I hate 100%. But they are. They're going, 110%. 110%. What I hate even more than that, though, is correct. People saying correct now when you say something. So basically, it's a big boy way of saying, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Correct. You're like, so I've got a line up there. Correct. Yeah, I know. So I hate that. I hate problematic. I hate just stupid people using language to stop intricacy. That's I hadn't prepared one, so that was very much off the top of my head. But
so you only get one shot of this each week. You know that, right? So that's your first week one. That'll go down as your first attempt, and it's an outrage. Something I hadn't prepared earlier. Obviously, I can't talk with my lack of prep on the Academy Awards. But look, it's good. It was a bit of a scattergun. You sort of went for numerous just words. If I was going to give it a title, I'd call Jono regales against words and their misuse, which is fine, totally fine. You threw a few good punches in there. I'm not sure if you knocked him out for the count.
I don't think so. There's no killer blow.
You threw a couple of... You went down swinging. Let's just say that. You went down swinging. Yeah. Oh, words. I've got a problem with people using words. And when they use them wrong, like wrong words, you fucking shits me. But no, 100% does annoy me a lot, and it's good you've had that.
Correct. Do you hear people say correct?
Yeah, interesting on that one. My stepfather used to find "that's correct" quite hilarious back in about the early 90s. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, he'd be like, someone would go, "That's correct. That's correct," which I think is pretty much similar to correct. It might even be a little bit more highbrow, I think.
It's more highbrow. What's using the language better? So saying correct is really just shutting everything down.
Correct.
I think it's you'd use that well. And right. I don't like right either.
Right? Right. You know, in what context? Hit me with a right that you don't like.
It's like correct.
Right.
Say something. So make a statement.
So Damian Lillard today was just simply outstanding.
Right.
Yeah. I'm
glad
you agree with me. It's great. Yeah, I hate it when you disagree. So it's a pleasant change. You're finally down with the program.
Did Dame Dollar deliver again today?
I think you need to watch it. It's superlative. It's mind blowing what he does. There's talk of there's MVP talk has come out since in the last 25 minutes since the game's finished. There's people tweeting that you need to look at him for MVP. If they finish third, is what the scribes are saying. If they finish third, you have to look at him for MVP. So,
that's a fair call.
Yeah.
That's a fair call because they were looking at Kyrie, and he's probably got better numbers than Kyrie.
Yes, and also, watching this game, it's never more clear. It's like him and daylight to anyone else on the team. He's the only one that can drag them over the line.
Who are they playing?
Lakers. So it's a team you like. So
this is Lonzo.
Yeah, I mean, do
you watch the whole game?
Yeah, of course I watched the whole game. Yeah, it's a really important game. We've won 13 in a row. They've won 5 in a row. It was a big game. Cool. Yeah, it was a big game.
Cool.
Thoroughly recommended. All right, well, that's good to hear. It's good to hear that you've had a crack at your first Outrage. Maybe have a think about what you want to do next week because
I might write the next one. Yeah, look, I'm never there's always quite a few things pissing me off, so it should be fun.
Yeah, and it's good that you didn't go down the Dunstall route of just yelling and screaming for no apparent reason. You know, you were pretty matter of fact about it.
I think I've got it next time. I've got to scream a bit.
Well, no, you just let us know about. You often have a pet peeve, and it's it's just about choosing which one. There's so much to choose from, I suppose. So it's quite difficult. All right. Well, the next section that I wanted just to look at is something that I prepared earlier. But the premise is quite simple. I'm going to put together a little radio piece each week, and I thought we can talk about the piece, and then we can talk about whether you think it's worth exploring, or whether I go into a different subject matter next week. We could even have it where you come up with what I write the next short piece on, maybe perhaps each week. But the reason I've sent you this little, I've put together this little piece is I had a very big weekend in Melbourne. I had, as you know, Jono, a 7 a.m., 5 a.m., 2 a.m. triple header in Melbourne, and as a result, my voice was a little bit lower than usual, and it started heading towards slightly film noir territory. I found a guttural side to it over the last couple of days. In fact, we played a movie game where I had to read out movie quotes, and everyone was saying I was sounding like Brando-esque or Bogey-esque with my delivery. So, inspired by that, I've put together this little piece, a genre piece, if you will, and it's called The Hybrid. Hybrid, the Nihilist Detective. Episode 1. Outside, it was raining. I hadn't slept in 4 days. I was thinking about her. The way she looked. With the sun in her hair. The way she looked with the moonlight in her eyes. I've been drinking non-stop now for about 3 days. My mouth tastes like an ashtray. Here I was. The hybrid. That's what they called me. Why? No one could figure out where I was from. And I couldn't even remember my name. I've been in the city, wandering around, taking odd jobs for years. The hybrid. There goes. The hybrid. And then I met her. She looked at me strangely the first time I walked in. She was sitting at the diner, a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. In front of her, 1 cup of tea.
I still smile when I think of it. Who drinks tea in the city? Tea for two, I said. No. Just for one, she smiled. Just for one. I wish it had stayed one. I wish everything had stayed one. Sometimes I think about how things could have been different. For me, for her, for this whole city, for this whole stinking world. And then I just get itching. I get itching and itching and itching, and then I get these welts on my skin that won't go away. Like scars on my mind that won't ever heal. Maybe I'm part Comanche. Maybe that's why I feel this way. Like I'm tearing myself apart from the inside, scalping myself. A car alarm goes off in the street. My head twitches a little. What's gonna happen today? What's gonna happen tonight? I think I can hear hail. I wonder, will they ever find me? How can they find me when I can't even find myself? Have I stopped looking? Have I stopped searching? When it comes down to it, I don't even care anymore. I can hear the rain getting heavier and heavier. My thoughts dry up completely. All I can see is her. All I can feel is the void beckoning me closer. Life, the life of a spinning bottle. The choice of a dying man. I get up from my chair and scratch myself some more. Maybe it's eczema. Maybe it's HPV. Who gives a fuck anyway? Hybrid. Out.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want to, say anything too soon. Like, I just wanted to settle in. Maybe, after listening to something that I don't know. Hybrid, yeah. No, I think. Well, I don't think it's necessarily a comedy. Maybe you cut out the comedy, and it's just like it sounded great. I like the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Did you write that, or was that just?
What do you mean?
That was just off the top of the head.
What do you mean comedy? There isn't any comedy in that.
You said hybrid a lot earlier. That was making me laugh. Did you write that, or was that just like? That was just the musings of someone that had very little sleep over 3 days. Was it? I don't know. Tell me. Talk to me about your process.
Define what's the difference between the two ideas.
Well, whether or not were you reading that off paper, or were you just coming up on the spot? On the spot. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Really good.
Predominantly off the spot. It's easier and quicker. And, once I've got it...
easier and quicker. Don't have to do any work that way.
But I was writing...
It's better for me.
I was writing it as I drove home from my voiceovers. So okay. I was writing in my head with I was practicing stuff I was going to say, which I put down when I got back to the studio. But I was running those for about half an hour, 45 minutes beforehand. There you go. Maybe an hour or so. And then,
well, I totally can see that, because after such a big weekend, you do start to have these kind of thoughts.
No, that's not my thoughts. That's the character. It's a character. I'm not the hybrid. I'm not some detective in a film noir world. There's no woman in a diner with a cigarette.
I like the cup of tea for one, and a cup of tea in front of it. That was good.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I liked how many times you said hybrid, but by the end, it stopped being funny at all, and just kind of like pretty like meditative and nice to listen to.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it. I realised with the rain in the background, the gravelly voice. It's quite soothing. I think after a while.
Yeah.
It started.
Yeah, I think it's a goer, mate. I think it's a go. You get the green light from me over here.
I think it started heading towards a little bit Bukowski. I thought, like a little bit with the eczema and the alcohol and the cigarettes and the and the male and female motif. It felt a little bit like it was heading in that sort of.
Absolutely.
That's my impression of Bukowski anyway.
You've never read Women.
I haven't read any of his work, but my impression is it's sounding a lot like something his stuff would be like.
You could definitely record some beautiful. Women is amazing. It's very confronting.
They are amazing. I think the women are amazing. Definitely.
You do. No, but it'd be confronting for you reading Bukowski. I think just for you personally, I think you might find it a bit full on, but it is good stuff.
So back to the hybrid. Would you like to go further, or would you any other ideas for the next radio piece for next week? Anything you'd like me to muse on? Do you want to take this guy somewhere, or do you want to go in a total different direction altogether with a different motif?
I reckon that guy's good, but I just think we need more content for what he's going on about.
Well,
I thought
that's the idea.
Too long. That was too long for that idea. Like you need some story in there, as I always say with the story. Yeah, you need, because all we found out about him was that he like misses a girl, he wishes he didn't meet her, and he's got like itchy skin.
But wait, he says there's something important that's supposed to happen tonight.
Yes, but you don't know what it is, and either do we.
How do you know I don't know what it is?
Because you should have put it there, because it was quite long for that amount of content.
No, because I'm setting it up. It's a setup piece, right? So you're giving you tastes of all the possible choices for us then to grab one and go forward with it. We can basically write depending on where we want to go with it. I can, it's about giving elements, and it's also quite postmodern.
How's it postmodern?
It's more about feelings than about story. Do you know what I mean? It's more about an aesthetic.
This is our fundamental difference in art.
I mean, what are the sound designs?
So this is good. It's great. Yeah, great. That's our fundamental difference. And that was someone. That was a good thing in the Oscars. They said that movies are. There was who was it? Jane Fonda was really strange at the Oscars.
Right.
She seemed really angry. She was up there with Helen Mirren. They got up together and they did the other one, and they said only one thing we can agree about is how much we love. They actually gave out Gary Oldman's one, how much we love a transformative performance. They said that's the one thing we can all agree on, which is I'm sure we can all agree on something else other than that. But they were talking about in the kind of montages that movies teach us that that's empathy on a screen. That's like edited images that kind of bring us to empathize, which I think is story. That's what story does in a movie. Whereas if it's just like beautiful images, that doesn't teach us to empathize. That's just just trying to be artistic.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, sometimes you can have images that will tell more of a story than just exposition.
Well, and it's a visual medium. Yeah, of course, you've got to be telling the stories with visuals as well.
And then sometimes having a
story,
an image, sometimes having an image that is multidimensional and can be interpreted in numerous different ways is more interesting than spoon-feeding an audience.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think you should totally spoon-feed an audience, but
I quite like it sometimes that when people walk away disagreeing about their interpretations of a piece, about what they think it was even about.
Yeah, but that's not for me so much.
Yeah, I know. But yeah.
You just said, yeah, I know.
Correct.
Yeah, you could kill me with correct. You do some massive damage with correct. Well, that's good. We'll keep exploring that on this podcast.
Well, I could do something
maybe
different.
I'll finally convince you.
Yeah, we could talk about it. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the hybrid is an example. That could easily be a Lynchian type world. The hybrid. I mean, it could be a car which runs on electricity and petrol. He could slowly turn into a car, for example.
It could be like Transformers.
Yeah, or like Taxi Driver, hybrid driver. Like he's a vehicle or something. Do you know what I mean?
It is a little bit Travis Bickle. It's a film noir of Travis Bickle with the train and the rain. Sorry. It's a bit Blade Runner. It's good. It's good shit. I like film noir. I just like it when film noir has a story.
Well,
Like anything. I like any genre as long as it has a good story.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I set it up so then we can take it on a story. That's the point.
Yeah, good.
You need to you lay the foundations.
Very good.
I create a world and then we take it somewhere.
That'll be all. Thank you.
So you want to stick with this world, or you want to go to a different world next? Do we go to pompous English court, for example? Are you happy with this?
That's a good idea. No, that's a good idea.
I think we mix it up a little. That's my point.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a good
we'll
idea.
come back to the hybrid in a few weeks, but we'll go into our next world next week, and we'll have like a few different installments of each world, which will then be retailed from ep to ep, and you can follow the story as you go along via the podcasts. But I think you'll find that the sheer variety will be very, very fun to be a part of, and some really toffee-nosed voices. There's going to be a lot of fun in this. So
a lot of fun. Stick with us, guys. We're just working this out, but we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, well, we're not really working it out. I suppose we are working it out. Yeah, just
very much. Yeah.
I suppose we don't have to tell them they're working it out. Like, isn't it kind of obvious that we're working it out? And now it's time for Jono's Review of the Week.
So as you know, I've got a DVD collection that I'm driving Honey Babe quite crazy with.
Yeah.
I buy DVDs all the time online, and I've been meaning to watch this film for quite a while. It's called Munich, and it's directed by a filmmaker, Stephen Speilberg.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I think I'd always been a bit nervous to watch it because I don't know, I just got a bit of a vibe from it that he kind of is obviously a master at what he does. But kind of towards a good mate of ours, Damien, has been very much a critic of Spielberg's kind of heavy-handed, almost what would you call it? He's not spoon-feeding you, but it's almost like propaganda. Some of Spielberg's pro-America kind of stuff and pro-Jewish kind of stuff, and so. I remember liking Schindler's List. I obviously love Jaws and all these early ones, E.T. and all that sort of stuff. But he kind of was considered to hit a bit of maybe got oversaturated. So I held off on Munich. I think it's 2005. Eric Bana playing a Mossad agent that gets asked by Golda Meir, the Israeli female prime minister. He was a former bodyguard of hers, and when I think it was called Black September, when a bunch of Israeli athletes are kidnapped and then killed at the Munich Olympics, this crack group of, I think, 5 agents go and try and take retribution on 11 of the terrorists. No. Only two of the killers survived. They just try and knock out people that were involved, and they're asked to do it in the most dramatic way possible. So Mossad kind of seems like a bit of a scary kind of super group. So they do it with explosions and stuff like that. So I didn't even know this, but Daniel Craig is one of Eric Bana's in his group, playing a South African in very tight pants. And Matthew Kasowitz, who I really like, who directed The Hain, he's the male love interest in Amelie. He plays the bomb maker, and then there's a couple of others. An Irish actor who's very good. They're in it, and they're working for Jeffrey Rush. Jeffrey Rush plays it kind of enigmatic.
The creep.
Yeah, exactly. You look at him. Have you seen the film?
No.
Yeah. Well, for some reason, I just looked to. I just was reluctant to pick it up, but it is pretty good. It's pretty good, and I'm going to say Spielberg isn't really taking a stand either way. Like he shows them as quite haphazard, this group, and Banner does a great job. Honey Babe was watching it with me, and she said it's amazing how vulnerable he manages to be, because he's in Hulk mode. He's very big because he's playing a former bodyguard, but he does a lot of nervous eye acting, and is a very reluctant killer, because otherwise, they would seem pretty horrible because they're coming up against just old people. They're just killing old people. It's not very heroic what they're doing. It kind of unfolds, and because it's based on a true story, it's not it's dramatic in quite a strange way. Like they're not super successful, and it's written by Tony Kushner, who's one of the great playwrights who did Angels in America and obviously worked with Spielberg on Lincoln more recently. It's pretty good, and John Williams with a cracking soundtrack. John Williams, he does a lot of soundtracks. He was involved in one last night.
Works a lot.
Yeah. But I'd give it probably on initial viewing. I thought, because I've got a thing where it's all kill and no filler, my DVDs. So I buy ones that I love, and then I buy ones that I haven't watched that I want to watch. And if I don't think they're fantastic, I throw them away.
So people are still making DVDs?
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah, no, they are, George, because they have new releases. They're charging like $40 for Dunkirk and stuff like that. So
wow.
I'll wait for that to go down. But I probably will get Dunkirk. But anyway, on initial viewing, I thought I'm going to throw that away. I'm not going to keep that. But then I read a few reviews. I read Ebert's review and started to think about it. And I just pondered on it a little. And I think I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it because I think I could rewatch it one day. It's very long.
Would you give it a 7? Is that what you have?
Yeah, so we out of 10, I prefer than the 5-star out of 5. Yeah, I'd give it a 7, 7.25 almost.
And are you a Banner convert? Are you a fan?
Well, like it's just been a decline since Chopper. Like I'd give my left nut to work with Banner after Chopper, and since then I've never seen him do anything anywhere near that. But he's pretty good. He was pretty good.
Black Hawk Down was the one that people seemed to like afterwards.
He was barely in it.
Yeah, I think it was probably because he was still running on the buzz a little bit of Chopper, but it was.
That's a great cast, Black Hawk Down. How's that for? I've got that on DVD. I remember loving it the first time. Do you reckon it stands the test of time?
Yeah, I know. I was never a huge fan of it to begin with. I don't think I'm not really a big war film guy. I'm more romantic comedies, generally speaking.
You do like them, and also like it does seem a bit racist. Black Hawk Down.
Surprise.
Isn't it like you meant to go for these, 15 American guys that are just like shooting hundreds of black people? It's like a zombie movie basically, but the enemy are just like African soldiers.
Yeah.
It's weird how quickly you meant to, and that's what I think Spielberg does quite well. He challenges why we're on Banner's side just automatically.
Yeah. The world thinks he's an amazing director, and I think Spielberg, I'm definitely a big fan, and just his techniques, simple techniques he uses, like having actors walk in and out into their medium shots and wide shots, just keeping the camera still. I just think it really fantastic. But yeah, he is quite heavy-handed. I see Damien's point.
I was disappointed by the post.
Right.
Very disappointed.
Yeah, I wasn't in a rush. I'm not a Hanks fan either, so.
I don't mind a bit of hanky-panky. I really liked him in Bridge of Spies. Right. I thought that was Spielberg on the money. That's why I was excited to see the post.
Yeah, he is the ultimate everyman, Tom Hanks, isn't he? He's like the everyman.
He uses lots of tricks. Like he gets his jacket stolen. He develops a cold. Like he does heaps of stuff to make you like him, Hanks, in Bridge of Spies. It's like ruffles kids' hair, loves his kids. It's you can just see that he's all over
tricks. All the tricks.
All the tricks.
Yeah.
All the tricks. He's got a puppy. With a cough. It's ridiculous.
It's full disclosure. The Jono and Dorje podcast.
I'd love to move on to sport, but it's a bit problematic because the one issue that Jono has famously, dear viewers, is that he refuses to stay up to date with sporting events. He's a big fan of the record and watch, don't talk about it routine, which isn't ideal for a podcast because you're generally known for being on top of events when they happen. But there has been a series of Ripper games today.
Really?
But there's one in particular which I've just watched, which features my beloved Portland Trailblazers against.
You've spoilt it. You've basically said that the Trailblazers win. So
not necessarily. I haven't said that necessarily. It's a crackerjack game.
Should I watch the whole game or should I just watch the last quarter?
I'd give yourself a little gift and watch the whole second half. I'd watch the second half.
A little Dame Lillard gift.
No, it's not just a Dame Lillard gift. The Lakers are good, and Isaiah, I was kind of wrong about him. I think doesn't have to be the man. I think he's happy to be the spark plug off the bench, it seems like, with the Lakers, which is great.
Did he score over 20 again?
He would be around there, but yeah.
What are the other big games?
Yeah, there was... Okay, so today's games were Cleveland versus Detroit.
That's a big game.
Indiana versus Milwaukee.
It's a huge game.
Miami versus Phoenix, Boston versus Chicago, Memphis versus San Antonio Spurs. That was a really interesting game.
Not exactly that exciting.
Well, all I can say is...
You're just looking at everything in the West because you want third.
Yeah, totally. I'd say. Orlando, Utah wasn't exciting, and then of course Portland, LA was just fantastic to watch.
You're just frothing. You're just frothing in the West. You just want all the teams in the West to lose, basically.
Look, it's
you just want Houston and Golden State and Portland to win.
Look, I cannot confirm or deny. Also, there was poker last night.
What do you mean you cannot confirm or deny? Like, just full disclosure, guys. Dorje is a massive homer for, which is fine, but he loves the Trailblazers, and they're exciting because they are playing out of their expectations, and they're currently in third. And so if they keep winning, if they win every game from now on, they'll finish in third.
We're not going to win every game. We've got a really tough schedule. We've got Boston, we've got Cleveland, we've got Golden State. We're not going to win every game. We've got a really tough schedule.
But there's no who's in fourth?
Right now? It's the Pelicans in fourth now. Sorry. Yeah.
That's amazing without Boogie. So that is fascinating. They've all lost their second best player over their best player.
Yeah, the brow's gone ham. He's in MVP level. He's playing, and my man Mirotic has been a revelation. So,
My man Mirotic.
Then it's San Antonio, then it's Minnesota, then it's Oklahoma, and then it's Denver. But from 3rd to 8th, there is 3 games splitting them. So it's
very exciting. And look at the East as well, very close. Same thing. It's 3rd till 9th.
3rd to 8th, 9th, big gap to 9th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Denver.
Detroit can't get in?
Detroit they're a good 8 games behind.
Behind 8th?
Behind 3rd, yeah.
They're behind 8th?
5 games behind 8th. Yeah,
okay.
They're not in it.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, whereas the Clippers and Utah are definitely in it. So we go from 3rd to 10th. So it's quite close. So that's exciting. And poker last night was some fascinating talk. Probably the most interesting of all was when I brought up the concussion thing, which the NFL and the AFL going through, and NRL. I talked about Ian Roberts, who was a year above me at NIDA, who's come out recently and said that he
didn't come out recently.
No, he didn't come out recently, but he did say that he's got brain damage, quite bad brain damage from playing sport, and how he's already starting to forget where he's supposed to be going and lines and all that kind of stuff. And Nicky Winmar and there's these guys are getting together for class actions, and Sal Shiral, lovely guy that we played poker with, questioned what they can really do. He claims that the leagues can't possibly be liable for this. But then, I mean, we all know from the $1 billion NFL provision and what the NHL put together that they are the courts are finding them liable in some ways for the damage to these players. So there's some big storm clouds brewing when it comes to professional sport and brain injuries, and they've been brewing for a long time. And I think the judgment day, if you will, is definitely on the horizon.
And we're so addicted to it. So it's like cigarettes, really. It's very similar. Yeah, we love it.
As a famous uncle of mine once said, he thought archery was the safest sport of all. Little chance of head injuries, you're not moving. He claimed even stop starting quickly can give you brain problems because your brain can hit your skull. So therefore, a stationary game such as archery, which he ended up having his daughter play to a very high level. In fact, she was almost Olympic level. Just another family member of mine.
Bowling.
10-pin bowling, I think you've got a point there. Lawn bowls, that's probably relatively
safe. Because archery is probably dangerous for people around you. Darts is definitely dangerous.
Yes, darts is dangerous, especially when you have idiot brothers. I've got a cousin who's got a scar in the middle of between his eyes from a brother that threw a dart at him. So it's definitely dangerous. But yeah, no, stationary sports generally seem to be the best. What is it? What's the one for soccer and baseball that they get?
Lou Gehrig's disease.
Lou Gehrig, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they reckon in soccer it's all the kicks they get to the legs. It's also obviously the headbutting, but apparently it's just like it's like motor neuron.
Well, as I said to the guys last night as we were talking about it, and they're saying, why is it all coming out now? And I said, the thing is, the brain itself is incredibly...
You're painting a picture where you're like the sage of poker, whereas really you're the young buck. Really, I don't think they'd allow you to take court like that.
No, they did.
Tim must have been gone by then. Was Tim still there?
No, Tim never arrived last night. So.
That's why the cat's away. Dorje thinks he'll just educate the 65-year-old, 70-year-olds.
Just, neuroscientifically, I have had some experience with that. I had that friend who's the dean of neuroscience at University of New South Wales, and his Bible of sorts on neuroscience, as I explained to the guys at poker, who are in raptures at this point in time. The dean, he was the dean, and his Bible of sorts, which he wrote at Berkeley, was essentially the dissection of a rat's brain. That's considered the bee's knees. So you can see how far we have to come and how so much information is coming to light. So it's a big thing. Anyway, I think that's about all we got time for. We can probably look into a bit more of that, and I'm sure that story will come to light more and more over the next few months, because I do think there's a big court settlement on the way, or will be, if we look at the US for precedent, as we always do. But in the meantime, we've wrapped up nicely with of course, the wonderful Academy Awards. We followed that with who can forget the initial opening for Belligerent Burns's It's an Outrage.
Yeah, it's an outrage.
And of course...
more yelling next time, Dorje. I'll yell more.
And I'll try. And then, of course, the first initial episode of The Hybrid, the nihilistic, philosophical poetry of an alcoholic detective, and our weekly review.
What was that one called again?
The Hybrid. And then we had...
movie review. Yeah, I think...
Jono's movie review for the week.
I think we should both watch it, though, because... I think maybe if I watch it and you just do, because you know how you love researching things, you know how that soothes you greatly. If you could just do a deep dive into trivia around that movie.
Sure, I can do that.
And I'm thinking about maybe watching Gandhi for next week.
Oh, I'm not watching that again.
Well, no, you've seen it. I've never seen it. I'll pick movies I've never seen.
Okay.
And
I'll bring out some trivia for said movies. Yeah.
Yeah, if you do a deep dive though, not just really soothe yourself.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll do a couple of hours. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. He was an interesting guy, Gandhi.
You mean the film, or
no, the guy, the actual guy, Gandhi? He was quite an interesting guy.
Very controversial now.
Well, that's the thing. You can look up all that sort of stuff, but also it'd be interesting.
Sleeping with children.
Was he though?
Yes, sleeping with young girls.
I was lying with them.
Jackson used to do that apparently as well. And it's not looked at fondly. Yes. Not looked on fondly. Anyway, we can talk about it. Sure, no problems at all. I think do you
know what's funny is Ben Kingsley just looks like Ben Kingsley before he shaves his head off, like he plays a young Gandhi. I'm just looking at the back of the DVD.
Yeah,
he looks so much like him when he shaves his head.
Yeah, he does. But wait, doesn't Ben Kingsley always shave his head?
He's got hair as a young Gandhi.
Okay.
Yeah, there's special features too. That's what I love about the DVD. There's special features.
I just don't. You'll be able to get all the films you've got as DVDs. You'll be able to get them online within a few years. With special features. Yeah, with special features. Yeah.
No, but I like having them there. Like I wouldn't. Like you can't hold on to an MP3.
No, it's true. I suppose. Yeah.
Got it right here. Got it right.
It'd be an MP4 for film, but yeah, you can't hold on to them. Yeah, it's true.
My hot little hand. Yeah,
but that was the argument for vinyls as well. And, actually vinyls have come back, so might have a point there.
Massively, and books will never die.
No, they're not going to die. No. Whoever thought they were going to go out was wrong. Newspapers, no, though they won't
fully die. They won't fully die. Well, do you reckon they'll keep World War Z? I haven't watched that yet. I don't think
you're going to like it.
I don't think I'll keep that on the shelf. No. Did you see it?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I had the misfortune. Yeah.
Oh, not so good. Do you know what's interesting about it, though?
What?
Mel Brooks' son wrote the book.
Right.
The famous Mel Brooks. His son wrote the book.
Yeah. I mean, that's something, I guess. But it doesn't matter. If you write it, it's a stinker. It's a zombie movie, so... Anyway. Go for it.
I find them quite scary.
All right, we better wrap it up.
Just do this again tomorrow, yeah? This is pretty much...
No, it's not tomorrow. It's a weekly thing. It's a weekly thing. You don't know how long it took me all of yesterday to edit the first ep. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. All right, so without further ado, I'll leave it to you, Jono, to take it away from episode 2 of Full Disclosure.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you listening through all this. Next week, we'll have a rant. We'll have the next hybrid, or maybe it'll be a bit of naughtier by the sound if Dorje wants to go to England somewhere. And of course, my take on Gandhi. Thanks, everyone.
Jono and Dorje, Full Disclosure in the Raw.